Been following you on Instagram for a while and really wanted to chat. Can you please introduce yourself to everyone?
My name is Constance Luna Smith, Luna Modella on all social media handles. I am an Afro Latina. I am a plus size model, influencer, content creator, multifaceted artist, singer in the shower, if you really want to know, from Boston, Massachusetts. But I like to consider myself like an East Coast shorty because I'd be up and down 93. And outside of that, I've just really been intentional and dedicated to like self-healing and breaking generational curses and just living my authentic life.
I want to start off with your modeling. When did you start modeling and why did you start modeling?
That's a loaded question. Daddy, when did I start modeling? When I came out of the womb. It really didn't go into like, it didn't become like a full goal or like desire or want or need or whatever until I was 8 years old.
Okay.
I remember I was in my, yeah. I've been noticing like everyone's modeling journey is like so different. Like you hear people like, oh yeah, I got signed on the street, or I shot with this photographer, or I won a competition or something of that sort. No, I've wanted to model since I was 8 years old. I grew up in like the rise of like pop culture, like America's Next Top Model. I was very influenced with like what was on TV because that's all I could watch. My parents didn't let me go outside. So, but like, I feel like I've really worked towards that. Like I started doing like hair shows when I was like 9 or 10. I was always taking pictures, always focused on like appearance, despite always being overweight.
Mm.
I didn't care because like I grew up like my primas and all that, like my whole family, my mom, my grandmother, they were all overweight at one point.
Yeah.
But I just seen that they just let everything that was around them really affect them and their like self-worth and all that. Like they just shitted on themselves. They did not speak highly of themselves. Like they continued to put themselves in, not positive environments to just feed into it. So I just knew from a young age I didn't want that for myself.
Good for you.
So I had to wait until I was like about 18 before I could like fully invest my time into modeling. And even then, being a first generation, I had that expectation of, oh, you need to get your college degree. So I had to wait until like 21, 22, where like the pressure was off. I didn't have to like answer any more questions because I already did what you asked.
Yes.
But in between that time, I was really just like building my sense of style, trying different things, really learning like my shape to know what looked good on me, what didn't look good on me, practicing with the camera, with angles, speaking life to myself in the mirror. Like I just prepared myself for when that moment came. It came. And also I was sneaking back and forth to New York City on the bus and my parents didn't know. But I had to feel the environment. I'm all about like comfort. So I just want to know where I'm at, get around, stuff like that. But it wasn't until 2017 or 2018 that I signed with the agency that I'm currently with. So that was what really gave me like a push, where I was able to do like more commercial ads, like where you see me in Target or in Ulta or Salon Centric, like we out here. But even in between that time, I've always just been putting 150% into myself because honestly, who else is going to do it?
Yeah.
And that's as far as like even booking like modeling jobs on my own too, because my contract is non-exclusive. So that means that I can work on my own and still work with my agency. So I feel like that's to my advantage. I also love that I have my degree, which is in criminal justice. I'm able to read my contracts and, like pinpoint things and, know stuff because I have to look out for myself. Okay, who else is going to do it?
Right. And who's going to do it as good as you will?
Awesome. Right.
So I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned your parents and how, your dad was like, well, she's been modeling since she came out the womb, since 8 years old. How have your parents, they wanted you to go to college. How have your parents been during your entire, I guess, this process that you just explained of like wanting to model? Were they like supportive, kind of like trying to understand? I know sometimes it could be like this with parents. They're like, "Oh, I'm so proud of
Yeah, yeah,
you." You're
it's
like,
exactly
"Ugh,
that. It's
why are
exactly
you
that.
doing this?"
Oh, okay. So I would say like my dad was always for it, but he's not the type to go out and go to shows or stuff like that.
Yeah,
But he's the type that like if I'm in a bind and I need money to get to New York, he's the one who's giving me the money so I can make sure that I don't miss the opportunity. So he's been 10 toes down since the very beginning. However, my mom, she was kind of fearful for me in the beginning because she, just like the perception and how people will receive you. And I won't say that I haven't had my moments, but I'm glad I didn't like really listen and feed into that fear that I just kept pushing despite because I would have missed out on all these flowers.
yeah,
But no, it's really been a wave.
yeah,
But my main support and anchor throughout all of this, and is the reason why I'm like I love myself so much, is my big sister. She is like my whole world. Like she just I don't know. She just if I'm having like a bad day or and the thing is like I also didn't realize because I was just moving like in tunnel vision when I would do like my modeling stuff. So I wasn't worried about keeping people updated on what I was doing or anything of that sort. So
yeah,
there was a disconnect of communication, especially with my parents, and they're not going to continue asking me questions. They're just going to go, all right, she's just going to do her.
yeah,
And they don't understand the modeling world. So I would come complaining about a photographer or, a bad experience I had on set or something of that sort. And they're like, well, if you don't like it, then don't do it. And I'm like, that's not a reason for me to give up. Like, just let
right,
me vent really quick or waiting 30 plus days for a payment. Like, there's certain sacrifices that you have to make to put up with. Cause, granted, I could be working a whole 9 to 5, but I don't want to work for anyone.
yeah, yeah.
I've been there, I've done that. I'm all set. Like I will find any creative, legal way to pay my bills.
So shout out to your sister and
Yes.
parents who try to understand as often
Mhm,
as they
mhm,
can.
mhm.
Because I can imagine it's fearful for your mom to see you want to being so loud and proud and like not making your small in the ways in which you said that a lot of women in your family who are considered plus size or overweight, you saw them doing that type of behavior, and so she was,
Yeah.
like you said, she's probably very fearful, and like what we don't know is hard to understand, and oftentimes it comes with fear. So you touched on
You
this
have
a
to
little
release it.
bit. Yes, absolutely need to release fear is what I'm hearing from you. And you touched on this a little bit earlier. What are some ways in which you consistently pour love and grace and joy into yourself?
Blasting Evie Queen in the car and singing my heart out, and I don't care who is around. I do a lot of journaling. I'm very like intentional on like inner work because you have to be able to sit and have those hard conversations with yourself. Like
Yeah,
you can't expect to have healthy, fulfilling relationships with other people if you can't even do it with yourself.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And you have to be consistent. It's not always going to be easy, but if you're not pouring into you, then who is?
Yeah.
That's just been the main thing for me because, like, even my vision board on my wall, it's super old, but I won't take it down because the only thing left for me to do is go to Paris.
Ooh, okay. We see that in the
Yes,
future.
yes. Speak
Near
it, speak
future.
it, speak
The
it,
near
speak
future.
it.
Yes. Why not?
Even my grandmother, she called me and she's like, "Girl, you going to Europe? I see you walking the runway."
Yes. Listen, I'm sure it's like this in your family too, but like, yo te un sueño, or
My grandmother
what
all the
and
time.
I'm like, oh shit, okay,
Mhm,
yes, speak it over me. I love that.
mhm.
I love that so much. What would you consider was your first big shoot or job that you got?
I would say they all meant something to me, but like that moment that I was like, wow, like I prayed for this and it's really coming true was the first time I booked Target. I was so nervous. Oh my God. Like my stomach was in knots. Like I'm not like a natural sweater. Like I was sweating bullets. And I'm like, it was free. I remember it was wintertime, it was freezing, and I'm like walking out of the train station. I'm like, I need to pray really quick. I prayed. I still felt then I called my sister and she's like, relax, get it together. you know? And then she calls my dad, and then my dad's on the phone. He's like, well, you wouldn't have booked it if they didn't want you. So I don't understand why you're second guessing yourself. And I'm like, you guys are really helping me.
These are the best pep talks ever.
Like, like I wasn't, you're really amping me up right now. I feel really good. And then my sister's like, okay, just relax, take 3 breaths and you'll be okay. And after that, I was fine. And then the shoot went smoothly. And like, I was just like, wow, like I'm really doing this. Cause sometimes you get so caught up in like doubting yourself, or like, especially within the industry, it's like waves. Like people think I work like consistently. And gracias a Dios that I work, but it's probably like 3 or 4 times a year. It's not like I don't have a consistent client that I'm working monthly.
Yeah,
But I'm still appreciative of what I do and I make it work. So you have to be creative and find other avenues, because multiple streams of income is key.
okay.
Is key because I wasn't taught any of this. I had to learn as I go, and I wish like some of the stuff I had learned sooner. But we're all flowers growing, and we grow at our own speed.
Absolutely. And so you give us one piece of advice, I guess I could say, is, multiple streams of income. What other advice would you give to any other Afro Latina, plus size woman or person who wants to be a model?
Even outside of modeling, you just want to like build confidence within yourselves, and you just want to be like that badass mujer that you are, una divina.
Yes.
Work on yourself, even like I know a lot of women are mothers, or like they have a lot of other responsibilities, but you have to be intentional and you make time for whatever you want. So give yourself, that 3 minutes in the bathroom when you're by yourself before you have to start your chaotic day. And just look at yourself and say, I am beautiful, or whatever positive affirmations, until you believe it. You have to do it every day. Like I said, be consistent. That's the first key, because even a lot of people have come and asked me for advice, and I'll, tell them plain and straight, and they're like, I would never do that. I could not do that. That's a lot. And it's like, again, you make time for what you want. You have to be consistent. You have to research whatever you want to get into. It's not just going to come to you overnight. Like faith without works is dead. Like it's nothing. So you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
Even if you were working a 9 to 5, because it's only been 3 years that I haven't worked a 9 to 5 and modeled at the same time, going from Boston to New York. So you have to, schedule your time. That's another thing. And that's just an important thing just to have on the regular day to day. Keep yourself on track, like hold yourself accountable. That's just very important. And just make sure whatever it is that you want to do, be it modeling or anything of that sort, is something that you want to do, not because you see the next person doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta let that envidia go. It's not cute. Just be you. Like no one around you likes you because you're being you, then you're in the wrong crowd. Like
Yes. Yes.
friends are like fish in the sea. Like you will find another. It is okay. Like, and if you're around someone and they're not giving you negative energy, or you're trying to accomplish a goal or a dream and people are not speaking life into you, you have to create that boundary. You have to cut them off.
Yeah.
And if you're not, sweet about it, then so be it. Learn grace as you go. At least you're trying.
So we've got multiple streams of income, be consistent,
Hella consistent.
um, speak life and joy and affirmations into yourself, and really curate your space and your community.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
I do want to ask, what is your favorite thing about being an Afro Latina?
I would say, okay, so let me just preface, because I don't even think I said what countries my family is from or anything of that sort. So I fully 100% identify as Afro Latina, because my dad is from rural South Alabama, so I'm half American, unfortunately. I love you, Dad. And then my mom was born in Honduras but raised in Belize. But I was raised by my mom's parents, so I just acclimated to that lifestyle, campos every Sunday. That was just that's all I know. You
Yeah.
ask me what I am, soy Hondureña. I identify because I feel like that just describes who I am. As that, I don't feel like it's on trend. I also believe that it's a perfect ex- perfect example of a first generation coming, to the States. It's just showing like my grandmother's efforts, my immigrating to the States, what she had to go through, and me being a vision of that.
Yeah.
Granted, when she hears the term, she doesn't she does I don't know what that is. I don't call myself that, but that's understandable. And generations, change, and we make positive efforts to move in a brighter, and I don't want to say better because they did what was best for them during those times, but just like a evolved
Well, language changes,
way.
right? Culture and language
Yes.
is ever changing, and that's just what it is.
Mhm.
And while
Mhm.
your grandma may not identify or be like, oh yeah, I'm an Afro Latina, I say, like I said before at the start, like Black people have been talking about themselves wherever they land in this world, and Black people of any people definitely know that they are Black people. And so whether
Mhm. Mhm.
I have like a title or not or whatever, like I'm aware that I am a Black person living a Black existence.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that our generation is just very proud to say that we're Black, because like even my mom's generation and my grandmother's generation, like they could be darker than us and they will not say that they're Black. And that's just from, like the colorism within the country, because that's a whole nother conversation.
Whole nother conversation.
That's like we need a shovel and like a back brace because the levels.
Yes.
And that even bothers me too, because even on both sides, if I go anywhere, like I'm passable. Like even when I was younger, they're like, okay, yeah, you passed. Like they're like, oh yeah, you passed the paper bag test. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, like if you're lighter or the same complexion, it's
Yeah.
okay. But if you're darker, it's not. That's like the early 2000s. Like, why are we still having these conversations?
Right.
But then I realized doing a little digging into like my family lineage and tree that on my dad's side, I'm only 3 generations from being a slave,
Hmm.
and like 4 or 5 on my mom.
Damn.
That's not that far.
It's really, really not. It's really not. Like, not at all.
No.
Like, you're a generation, your mom's a generation, your grandma's a generation, and your great grandma's a generation. Like, that's,
Yeah.
I met my great grandma, like,
Oh, I
so
wasn't blessed to meet any of my great grandparents. I wish I did.
only on my mom's side. Unfortunately, I was on my dad's side, his parents passed when he was young. So, that
Yeah.
that definitely sucks. But yeah, it's 3 generations is eso no es nada, like
Mm-hmm.
my my mom is my daughter's third generation, right? Because she's a generation herself. I'm a generation, and my mom's a generation. So imagine,
Yeah.
it's not that much time.
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
what is one of your favorite memories of being raised as a Hondureña by your grandparents? It could be food, a tradition.
Um, so like my grandmother is more Indio, and granted her mom was from Jamaica, but that she was raised in Honduras. So born and raised. But my grandfather was Garifuna. So like one of the traditions was like dancing punta. So like him just teaching us that, and like he passed when I was 9, and I didn't really get to learn the language, and it's like dying now, and I feel like I'm losing grasp of culture. Like I should be fluent in it. But just those memories, or even on Sundays, because he was part of the soccer club, going to the campo and just like being around. Like I call them my primas, but they really weren't. But we all like grew up together, so being around them and just like the food, and like right now is even the perfect time because we're leading up to La Independencia on the 15th. So I just like already feel it in the air, and it's just I don't know, it's just love. Like I could smell it, I could just feel it. I just like I want the same foods, but I don't eat meat anymore, so I can't have chicharrones and stuff like that. But
Damn,
a baleada will do me good.
that's wonderful. And so, where can everyone find you and follow along on your modeling career and all the things that you're doing?
My handle is Luna Modella on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Constance Luna Smith on Facebook, but you can find me under Luna Modella.
Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you and more Target, Ulta, Paris Fashion Week uh,
Speak it.
situations. It's really great to always see you come across my timeline, and I'm so glad we got to chat today.
Oh, thank you for interviewing me.